Hi again, everyone. This video is sponsored by contribution from Sarah, and here's her story. And this is going to be the third video I'm doing for her, the last two being the narcissist bullies you under the color of love, and the narcissist uses the term family against you. Hi, Ollie. I wanted to follow up with you on my first two letters I wrote. You asked in the first video if my ex-husband had any family around, and the answer is no. The reason being is because they live far away. We met online years ago when we decided to take things serious. He packed up and moved 12 hours away from his home to be with me. So he lives in Atlanta and he moved to Dallas in 2013. He has stayed in Dallas after our divorce since we have a child together. So a part of me feels as if I deserve all this bad treatment. At least that's how my mom has justified why she took his side in all this. She didn't come out and say that was why, but she made it known. She has yelled at me for having him move all the way out here, only for me to kick him out, emphasizing that he left all his family and friends for me. Well, I can assure anyone that I didn't just kick him out with no regards to his feelings for the sacrifices he made to be with me. I want to explain why we even got married to begin with. I have never admitted this to him so that I could spare his feelings. But the reason is because when he moved to Dallas, he moved in with me into the home I am renting from my parents. My parents found out and became angry, saying that we were living in sin since we were not married. Something they say regularly when I do anything they don't like. They have done this to me before with another ex and wouldn't back off me until I married him. That marriage lasted a week and I got it annulled. Wow. Wow. You know, it's kind of similar to what my ex-wife's parents' father actually did to me, where, you know, when we announced we were engaged, her father insisted she come and move in with me right away. Like, she gotta move in, you gotta find out. And what it was he just wanted her out of their hair so they could bounce to Myrtle Beach. So narcissists always, narcissists try to marry you off, do whatever. They don't care. When I let my ex move in with me, my mom doubled my rent as punishment, saying unless we had gotten married, it would stay that high. To shut her up and to lower my rent back down, I married him. I told her when we got married, and she lowered it only a little bit. I was originally paying $600 a month, which is really cheap in Dallas. She doubled it to $1,200 when he moved in, and then lowered it to $1,000 once we got married. The second we said I do, it was like his head did a 360-degree spin. His personality took a 180-degree turn. He was not the person I thought I knew. He was awful, beyond awful. Within 2 months, we weren't even sleeping in the same room together. So it came as a surprise to me when I became pregnant with my fourth child. When I found out I was pregnant with her, my ex and I had been in separate rooms for 2 to 3 months at this point, not touching or looking at one another. So I thought I was much further along than I really was. He went with me to the first sonogram appointment, and we made bets how far along I was. This was not a friendly bet either. I was pissed because he kept saying I wasn't that far along, while I kept insisting there wasn't any possible way because we haven't been intimate in months, unless he snuck into your room. God, I don't know where this is going. Well, when the nurse came in, she did the measurements and said I was barely 6 weeks along. He smirked and said, "See, I told you." I sat there wondering, how is this possible? Did I forget? I don't know. Did you get drunk? Did he get you drunk? Did he sneak into your room or something? You don't forget something like that, though, and I hated him. I wouldn't have touched him with a 20-foot pole. Then he said it happened on the night we had a barbecue and had some friends over. I had been drinking that night. Now, I know for a fact I would not allowed him to touch me. I remember that night very vividly up until I went to sleep. So something tells me he did something while I was sleeping, but I wonder how or why I did not wake up. He probably roofied you. And if this, I don't know what the background, what the friends are, the barbecue. I don't know if they were your friends or his friends. But if you have no I knew it. Like as soon as he said it, I'm like I knew something it was going to be short, and it was something like this. If you have no recollection of it, none whatsoever, then you were obviously roofied or drugged. So, and I not knowing what the deal is with the friends or what it is, I would just be sure that the person you think is the father if you haven't. So I don't know. It's still a mystery to me, but I think I know what really happened. I stayed with him throughout the pregnancy, hoping it was just hormones that was making me hate him. But it wasn't. It was him. He was miserable to be around. He made me miserable every second we were around each other. We were always fighting. And I started to notice he would use my weakness against me. I only I only stayed married for as long as I did because I knew deep down my family would take his side and that I would lose them and have nobody. I could not have been more right about that. But at the time, I was not aware of narcissistic abuse or that I was being abused. Same thing I expected out of my family, which is why I stayed for so long. As far as my sister, she is younger than I am by 6 years. When she was born, my dad really took to her. My dad was my best friend when I was a little girl. He would play with me, watch Disney movies with me, and was pretty big and was pretty much a big kid himself. But when she was born, my existence with him ceased. She was his new little princess, and I became very jealous and bitter. And I have to admit that I'm still kind of am to this day. She turned into a major brat by the time she could walk and talk. She used to tell lies to my dad just so that I would get spanked. It happened all the times. And the spankings weren't just a quick swat on my butt either. My mom had a wooden paddle made that was about 2 inches thick, and she had holes drilled into it so that it stung worse. And believe me, it was painful. I always had ample warning for the spanking I would get. My parents would typically tell me to go to my room and think about why I was getting spanked. And then they would come in and deliver the spankings. More torture. The wait time could be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. I remember usually being scared and crying the whole time and witching to get it over with already. The spankings gradually became worse, so I started layering myself with as many pair of panties as I could and a pair of shorts under my pants. Of course, they noticed, which only made it worse, and I was then ordered to take off all my clothes, leaving me either in just my panties or nothing at all. Another sexual sadist. I hope you got that paddle away from her one day and fucking clobbered her with it. My dad would always come in and talk to me prior to getting spanked and ask me if I knew why I was getting spanked. And I always said yes, although most of the time I wasn't quite sure. He would say it was to discipline me from making the same mistakes again. No, no, no. It was to gaslight. They do that to gaslight us. Okay, from thinking I'm really getting off. I'm a big fucking sexual sadist bully, and I'm getting some kind of sick charge out of this. So it's really your fault you're getting beat. It's never the child's fault when the narcissist beats them. Never. That is a cover for the narcissist sadism. That's all that is. Those conversations, no matter how calm they are. Bullshit. They want to prolong the torture. The torture. And just to know that this hurt him more than it could ever hurt me. Bullshit. And I heard that a million times. Bullshit. Again, they get to physically fucking hurt you and make you think somehow magically it's causing them pain. Bullshit. Bullshit. I took Erin to get her shots. And she screamed, and I practically ripped her away from them. A real parent can't stand to hear their children cry in pain. This is bullshit. I heard the same shit. And you knew it was because you could feel it that they got off on it. But at the same time, then you think you're bad because you're really hurting them and you don't see it, so you must be this fucking evil kid. Because he didn't like doing it. Bullshit. Yes, there were times where I would have bruises up and down my back, buttocks, and legs. Times where I couldn't sit down while at school, where I would wear extra clothing then too for the padding. These spankings, and they're not spankings, they're beatings. These beatings only caused me to hate my sister even more. Right, which is why I hated my brother, which is why I hated Precious, because he'd do the same shit to get me in trouble and get me fucking beat. It wasn't any better that I became her babysitter most of the time and had to give up half my bedroom to her. Anytime I made her mad, she would tell my dad that I hit or pushed her, and he'd come back with a belt and I'd get the spankings. She would stand by the bedroom door grinning while this happened. And don't think he didn't know it like my parents didn't know it. It was a game to the laughing, and I know what you're doing. You know I know it. You know I know that you know what's going on here. And that's what drives you fucking crazy to this day. Makes you want to grab a belt and open up a fucking can of whoop ass on everybody. Everybody. I'll tell you this, though. Like, I know what I said. Like, I don't trust myself around my parents and, because of the Precious better never, and I mean this, never cross my path again. I haven't forgotten Precious. Still stands. That's why I like doing this, too, because it helps reminding me why y'all so fucked up. I really hated her. One time my mom made me lay on her bed to take a nap with her. All I remember was she wouldn't stop screaming. And my God, does she have a blood-curdling scream. I couldn't take it anymore, so I grabbed the pillow, put it on her face, and sat on it. I wanted her to die. I don't know why, but at that time, my mother walked into the room and caught me. She yanked me by my arm, lifted me into the air, and beat me for it. Life only became harder with my sister. There was false molestation accusations I told you about towards my twin's father when she was 12, which made me hate her even more than I thought I could. My mom would always tell me to just be the bigger person and get along with her. She would say I was being childish for hating her. Knowing that acting childish was frowned upon, I tried to get along with my sister. When I was 20 years old, I left for the military and had my first duty station in Tucson, Arizona. I can remember still getting yelled at by my mom for things my sister was doing. One night, my sister called saying she snuck out the night before and went around with some boys and was being mischievous. I didn't think much about it other than her being a typical kid her age, and I remember cutting that conversation short because I had my two young twins needing my attention. About a day or two later, I got a call from my mom saying that my sister told her about sneaking out and told my mom that she told me about it. My mom yelled at me saying that it was my fault she snuck out to begin with and asked why I didn't tell her about it. I told her she's not my kid, not my problem. That made her mad, and she said, well, if she had snuck out again and got into an accident and was killed, it would be all your fault because you could have prevented it by telling me. I hung up at her at that point. I couldn't believe I was living in another state caring for my own two children and being blamed because she couldn't control her biggest mistake. Anyways, I don't have a relationship with my sister anymore. We got a huge heated argument a little over 2 years ago because I confronted her about taking advantage of my mom and dad, which they ultimately deserved, to be honest. My mom was there when this happened. I thought I was defending my mom, but it turned on me, as it always does. Look, these conflicts always are going to turn back to you because you're always the target. Just like Precious turned it back on me, which made me mad because of all same shit Precious did to your sister, did to you, Precious did to me. And I let it go. And in fact, when I had my moment, when my parents found the seed in his, the marijuana seed in his car at 17 and turned him into the cops and called all his friends' parents and fucked up his life, I didn't say, yeah, good. I'm like, you guys are a bunch of fucking assholes, and I had his back from here on out. I let the past go at that point. But when I broke contact with them, it all turned back on me again. And he set me all up. Did me a favor by making the channel public, so you should all thank him if you ever. But that's why, like, right now I hold him like, don't even let me see it. Don't even let me see it. My mom told me I ruined her birthday because of the fight. It wasn't even her birthday. And I said I needed to apologize for the blow up and drama because it wasn't my place to say anything to her. I stupidly apologized to my sister just to appease my mother, but I also told my mother to never mention my sister's name to me again or to tell me any of the horrible things my sister is doing to her, since it isn't my place to defend her. I told her I no longer cared if my sister disrespected her, and she deserved everything my sister does from that point on. She has tried to mention my sister to me here and there, but I no longer entertain it, or I just stare at her, not saying anything until it gets awkward, and she shuts up and walks away. As far as my brother, I haven't seen or spoken to him in over a year. The last conversation we had was him telling me how disappointed he was in me for allowing my twins' father into their lives. And so long as their father is in their lives, to not expect him or his kids and wife to be in any of the girls' dance competitions or birthday parties. He told me I was a bad mother for allowing them to know their father. I deleted his number from my phone, and I haven't seen him since. Honestly, I don't care. I liked my brother, but we lost connection once he got married to his wife. She controls everything, and I don't like her at all, so I stay away. Anyways, thanks as always, Sarah. Sarah, you got to get away from these people. All of them. Because as the narcissist turns on you, they're just doing you a favor by showing you their true colors. Your mother is sadistic. Your father is sadistic. They're out to control your life. And you're right. Your mother reaped what she sowed with your younger sister. Fuck them. Fuck them. So, I hope you're working to cut these people out of your life permanently, because this is only going to continue to escalate and get worse. Thank you so much again for your contribution and for your story. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, or you'd like to set up a Skype, private email, or phone call, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unsure, click the ending link on the video for the instructional video, and that'll give you all the instruction you need to have that set up. Also, remember to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And also click the subscription bell to be notified of all my uploads. Thanks again, everybody. See you soon. Bye.